chance to read those. Were there any changes to the minutes from March 12th? Want recorded?
I didn't see any changes.
Okay, seeing none. All right, does anybody object if we approve the minutes? Speak up now. Okay, hearing none, Ms. Brewer, record by unanimous consent. The minutes from March 12th are approved and accepted. And we'll move on to public comment. This is for non-agendized items. There's nobody here. Anybody want to speak on a non-agendized item? Nope. Okay. All right. I'll note that former Commissioner Chair Howard Witten is in the audience as well. Okay, so I will close section 5, and at this pace, I might actually make my bocce ball game at 7. So we keep rolling along here to section 6. So commissioners, I had some requests to move things around a little bit, actually go in reverse order here. So the request was to do item 6C first, followed by item 6B, followed by item 6A. Does anybody object to that?
No.
All right, then we will move forward with item 6C. Mr. Sai, you have an update on Vision Zero?
Yes. Good evening, commissioners. I have an update for Vision Zero. We were here last month and we gave you kind of an update on the upcoming draft. And tonight we have that draft live unofficially on the city website. So Andy is pulling up the website. It works for desktop or mobile, and it'll be very simple. Scroll down a little bit. The first thing it says, review our draft comprehensive safety action plan. Step 1, open the draft plan. And if you click that, it will go ahead and open up the full draft plan. So last month when we came, we just had a few snapshots. Here, you'll be able to see all of the content in more detail and depth. The file's not that big, but it's loading a little slow. And once it loads, if we just scroll through a few pages just to get us an idea of the full plan. Over 60 pages, so you'll be able to dive into this at your own leisure. And then if you would go back to the project page, step 2 would be where you're able to share your input. We have a few set categories with an other section. So if you could just click any one of those, Andy. And then the comment box opens, and if you could just type some kind of test comment and click submit. That goes straight to our project team. And if you scroll up a little bit, that message does appear. Thank you for sharing your input. And if you want to submit another comment, go ahead and refresh the page. So that's how this website works. We're trying to streamline those steps a little bit, but if not, this is how it will be. Unofficially, it's live right now. Next week, we're going to have billboards posted at the community center and the library, and I believe at City Hall. And we're going to advertise it through e-news and all the other channels that we've used in the past. And so really here today, we were just promoting the project. This input will be live for this entire month. And at the end of that, we are hoping to come back to Teaspoon with some kind of summary of what we heard and maybe a last chance effort to give any additional comments that you might have. And in Europe, of course, your comments will be in this effort as well. Any questions?
No.
Start on this end.
You can go first.
Is there going to be a QR code to scan that takes you to the website?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Commissioner Israelet? Yep.
That's great. Have you guys ever, I'm just trying to see how we could get a wider swath of the population of Burlingame actually involving themselves in this. Have you guys ever put up like plastic sandwich boards on Burlingame Avenue, for instance, where, you know, that the bench area is at the intersection of what's Pete's Coffee on? What's Park? Is that
Park.
Park, you know, there's a seating area there, wouldn't intrude on any pedestrian walking on the sidewalk. And then maybe somewhere on Broadway, you know, they have the little bulb outs with the circular seating at some of the intersections. It would be really nice if we could get as much participation and as possible, and it also helps with buy-in when we later try to implement things.
Yeah, through chair, we've
Yep.
done that for some of the other traffic calmings. We actually put the QR code on it, so just try to make it as easy as possible so we can continue to, we'll round up our sandwich boards and do that.
And maybe put them on our big shopping streets or
Mhm.
And one last, do you guys ever put one up outside of one of the schools? Like I'm thinking more elementary schools where parents will congregate as opposed to, you know, a high school.
Yeah, through chair, we can look into that as well.
Yeah, so the the first round of outreach, we did a lot of pop-up events where the billboards with the QR codes were manned. We also went to a few different schools, kind of manually doing that, but that's a really good idea that we should have these kind of posted passively throughout the entire duration to get even more.
Mm.
So yeah, we'll definitely look into that.
Low cost.
We had, I know this is the second bite at the apple for the community to get involved because we actually had really great engagement on the first round of inputs. So duplicating a lot of those efforts, I think, you know, this will hopefully resonate. I think, I know that you've renamed it from Vision Zero to Burlingame Comprehensive Safety Action Plan. You might just since people, the first time they engaged may have known Vision Zero as the call to action. You might want to make a reference back to that initiative so they tie the two together is kind of one suggestion. Another idea is all of the schools have newsletters.
Mm.
So between Burlingame High School and then the Burlingame School District, I know all of the schools have a weekly communication that go out. That might be a good way to get parents more engaged, as well as OLA. And then you probably know this, so I don't mean to, but on the 25th of April, there's the big coming out party for the new city center. And there's going to be a bunch of booths and tables, and you're probably already planning it, but just to bug in your ear, I think it's from like 11 to 2. So that might be a good place to advertise.
Perfect.
By
Actually,
the way, I'm in marketing communication.
and consider it done. Yeah, we have a few, the project does have a budget and we do have a few different pop-up events that we want to do. And so maybe we'll put that one a little higher on the list.
And I guess one other thing is on the timeline, it stops at spring of 2026 on the website. It would be good to know that after people give their feedback, sort of what's next, what should they expect? And I don't know if there's something that can be added once the steps get figured out.
Like the next steps after this comment period
Yeah,
to put what will happen. Okay.
yeah, because it kind of ends spring of 2026 and so then what? Yeah,
Okay.
they give input. Might be nice to know.
That is a good point. And then, so basically this safety action plan, at the core of it, the biggest impact it can do for us is when we apply for grant funding. This is something that is one of the requirements, and that's why it got renamed a little bit, because it actually included elements of more than just Vision Zero,
Yep.
also local roadway safety,
Yeah.
technically called that Comprehensive Safety Action Plan, which is what they're looking for in some of these grant opportunities. So that's why we renamed it, and we'll do a better job of reminding people that it's the same thing.
Because I agree with you. I mean, I've been hearing Vision Zero for since 20 when Mayor Beach first brought it up and during COVID, I want to say. So I think people have heard that and they may not make the connection. Too bad we can't call it like,
You
Sure.
can do like what Prince did, the.
Formerly known.
The-
The
Vision-
project
yeah,
formerly
that
as,
Formerly known
yeah,
as.
yeah.
Okay.
We- Maybe for simplicity, we just call it, continue to call it, Burlingame Vision Zero, and then just in a smaller print, the comprehensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Just
I'd-
to,
yeah, that'd be,
because really, we just need people to.
Yeah.
um,
I mean, it's so hard to get engagement.
Yeah.
So I just, whatever makes it easier for people to go, oh, I've seen that before.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Vision Zero is so unique. I mean, there have been so many other, comprehensive plans or bike ped master plan. I mean, maybe someone who's not coming to Teaspoon meetings and, it might also
Our big-
sound the same. But yeah, whereas Vision Zero really is a great buzzy catchphrase, I think.
yeah, it's more relatable. Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
More input than you really needed.
Yes.
No, that's why we're here.
sorry. No, it's good. It's good.
It's very good.
As much airtime as we can.
Commissioner French, did you have anything?
Nothing additional.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, and you may have said this, but farmer's market, if you go sandwich board there on Park, for farmer's market would be good. Yeah, I know you have a limited budget, so you probably can't have
Yeah,
people out there, but a sandwich board would be great.
right. It's low budget. And
Yeah. No,
I think we should do that,
I
Adam.
don't think you pay sandwich boards too much, do you? So probably work. Fit that in the budget. Okay. Anything else, commissioners?
I've got a list for you. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take it offline.
Marcom right here. All right. Mr.
Was there a second question I didn't answer? Or did I?
Nope, I think,
Oh.
yeah, you're good.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, no.
Good.
All right. Is that it, Mr. Sai?
That is it.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, we appreciate the update. All right. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to 6B, US 101 Corridor Connect.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Patrick Gilster, the Director of Planning and Fund Management with the San Mateo County Transportation Authority. Nice to see you all this evening. Thank you for having us. Tonight, we're here more in a report back fashion. You've seen presentations from me and my staff, Sue Ellen Atkinson, Manager of Planning and Fund Management, who spearheads this effort for us tonight. She was at San Mateo late last night, so I'm helping her cover today. So tonight, I want to cover a few exciting things with our 101 Corridor Connect program. We've adopted a bunch of different plans lately at the Transportation Authority and want to make sure you all are aware of what ended up in all of those plans, because we got a lot of great feedback from you all and the community here in Burlingame, and what's coming next for us and how the city can take advantage of that. Next slide. So not expecting everyone to remember what 101 Corridor Connect is. So we started this about 2 years ago, and it's a collaborative effort to look at what does congestion management, especially when we talk about US 101. Often folks think of just mainline freeway projects as congestion management, and it's so much more than that. But everyone has a different idea of what that definition is. And so this effort was helping us in the north, mid, and south parts of the county around US 101 and on US 101, identify what transportation projects do we want to prioritize as a county in each of those regions or each of those sub areas of the county to help move forward. So it's looking beyond highway infrastructure project. It does include highway infrastructure, but it is looking at things like bicycle and pedestrian connectivity to transit, safety projects, all of those types of things. It includes our partners from Caltrans, all of the cities across the corridor, the transit agencies, the County of San Mateo, and the City and County Association of Governments of San Mateo County, or CCAG. When we started this process, we narrowed it down to 4 key goals, looking to make US 101 safer, better connected, more sustainable, and more inclusive when we're looking at different transportation options and who's able to access different transportation options as well. Next slide. So some critical outcomes for us. We've now identified in each part of the county with our multimodal strategies, which I'll touch on here in a minute, different priority projects. So what projects really rise to the top? Many of these cross city boundaries and identify things that where we can help work with folks to knit those projects together. It does now act as our CMCP with Caltrans, and what that stands for is a comprehensive multimodal corridor plan. There is one that spans San Francisco, San Mateo, and Santa Clara counties for US 101. But that's a lot of different projects, didn't really give us direction on how we wanted to move forward as a county. And so this actually narrows it down to just our county and our different subregions of the county. And this is really to help us better position ourselves for state funding in particular. Leverages what we do at the Transportation Authority with Measure A and Measure W and our local sales tax funding, and can actually help bring in some bigger dollars for those projects as well. Next slide. You could see our sandwich board in that last slide too. Those work great. We love those. Really wanted to give a shout out to city staff across the corridor. We've been really grateful for all the involvement in identifying, making sure your projects are identified in the inventories of these projects, and that they're weighing in throughout the process as we're out in the community and wrapping up our plans. So we had a North County working group, a Mid County working group, and a South County working group. Next slide. So the biggest ones we've adopted lately are our multimodal strategies. These are 3 different planning efforts along the corridor that were customized to each subregion of the county. Next slide. So multimodal strategy is a planning and prioritization document that helps us identify where the projects are locally identified. We did not come up with new projects. These are all from your local plans and the county plans. And then we used public input and prioritization metrics to actually rank all of those projects. And so these were developed for the entire corridor and include highway projects, active transportation projects, transit projects, and other types of improvements as well. Next slide. As I mentioned, we broke it into 3 parts of the corridor for the multimodal strategies. It does vary conditions-wise and different communities-wise along the corridor, so we thought it was better to cluster those individually. The prioritization rankings are different. So how we look at those goals, each part of the county is actually a little bit different in what the priorities are for them. And so that's reflected in each of our multimodal strategies. So Burlingame is in our mid-county plan with Belmont, Foster City, San Carlos, San Mateo, and Redwood Shores area of Redwood City. Next slide. So each of those plans had a very comprehensive community engagement plan with those. We had a project website, fact sheets, press releases, online surveys, interactive recording videos, QR codes at bus stops to get bus transit riders to interact. We were at local pop-up events. We had community-based organizations. I think we had 4 in each part of the county. And then, as I mentioned, the temporary signs at bus stops. So lots of things we were trying to be as out in the community as we could be with this effort. Next slide. So the next few slides are just some pictures of our community and stakeholder engagement efforts. So we were all across, as I mentioned, the county for about 2 years doing this effort and are getting close to wrapping those up and actually moving them into implementation. Next slide. As I mentioned, we were talking to many of the different community and stakeholder engagement organizations, the CBOs, as well as part of that process. So the folks that might not have always participated in transportation projects, but we wanted to make sure we went to them and actually got their opinions and paid them for their involvement as well. Next slide. In total, between all 3 plans, we had 1,200 responses to our online survey, 5,800 votes on how to improve transportation and travel along the US 101 corridor, 574 interactions at pop-up events, 429 comments to the interactive maps, 114 people attending our community-based organization meetings, and 12 pop-ups across the county as well. Next slide. So my staff was really thrilled with me with how much engagement we did, but it was really worth it. The final list, we don't expect you to be able to read all of these, but the end result products of each of those plans is the top 20 priority projects in each area of the county. So in each of those planning efforts, you could go in and see the actual list of those projects as well. I'll get to what they are in Burlingame, don't worry, in a little bit. So you don't feel like you have to squint at that. Next slide. But before I do, I want to touch on our other efforts where Sue Ellen was here, I want to say about 6 months ago, probably, talking about the Active 101 project or the US 101 San Mateo County Corridor Crossings Improvement Plan, better known as Active 101 for much shorter. This is a Caltrans grant funded effort. This really does take a look at the 101 Corridor Connect multimodal strategies, looked at all types of transportation within 1 mile on either side of the freeway. Active 101 looks at a 1/4 mile on either side of the freeway and across the freeway for just facilities that improve access to walking, biking, and accessing transit for people rolling as well. So that's things like pedestrian overcrossings, sidewalk improvements near interchanges, bike lanes, sidewalk gap closures, all those type of improvements specifically for people walking, biking, rolling. Next slide. We did take a look at the freeway as a whole from the north border to the south border for this effort and didn't break it up into chunks because we wanted to treat everyone in the same fashion and have a more connected network. You kind of saw on those other maps, we had separated projects. This is looking to create a connected network along and across the freeway. The goal of this is not the straight line, get from the north border to the south border as fast as possible. It's really how do you navigate around the freeway in our local communities in a safe, accessible manner. Next slide. We were out at more engagement for this, 6 different pop-up events across the county, 26 different stakeholder presentations for feedback, and got 270 responses to an online funded tool where you could upvote different projects that were identified near the freeway. And we could see actually where people were interested in how they would spend their money on investments in the community. So we took all that back. In the next slide, I believe, is our how we created that corridor that I was talking about. So on the left is a heat map in the orangish and yellowish of all those votes we got on the funding tool and in our interactive map and in pop-up events. So the hot spots across the county. And then on the right, kind of those little green lines are all the 500 or so inventoried projects in that corridor. So then we knit the existing conditions with where people wanted to see improvements across the corridor. Oh, no, you can go to the next slide, that's fine. You can actually see it better in what we created in the orange line on the screen. The black line is US 101. As I mentioned, it's not a straight line. It's not intended to be a straight line to go north to south. It's a very long distance. There aren't going to be as many people traveling that distance. But it's really, how do we safely get our communities across the freeway and along the freeway? So we took a look at our 4 goals for the 101 Corridor Connect program. Are we making things safer? We're addressing many portions of the county high injury network. We're providing a lot more access to transit and transit stops. If we implemented the whole network, there's a large reduction in VMT or vehicle miles traveled and greenhouse gas reductions. And sorry, excuse me, and making it easier for people within our disadvantaged communities to have closer access to high quality transit and walking and biking facilities. Next slide. So what does that all mean for you all? I know that's a lot of information. So our 101 Corridor Connect, we're really here to promote the next steps. So if we go to the next slide, here in Burlingame, in the multimodal strategies, the priority projects for us that were identified with community support were El Camino, Old Bayshore Highway, the Broadway grade separation, California Drive, North San Mateo Drive, and then on the Active 101 side, all that line that we saw in there, all of those projects become priority projects to us. And so rise to the level of a countywide significant project transportation authority. That includes Broadway, Rollins Road, Cadillac Way, can't quite read the other one, Howard. And then what's not on here that should be on here is there is our east-west connections too. So Peninsula Avenue is also in the plan as that as well. There are some parts of that corridor that don't knit in the Ithaca network, but there were enough votes on some of the east-west connections across the county that there's about 7 corridors. Peninsula Ave is one of those that need a better look at that did actually kind of access that network as well. So there's cut sheets for all of those type of projects in those plans. And if we go to the next slide, we at the Transportation Authority and our board was excited when we presented on this, that they wanted to, how I like to say, put our money where our mouth is in a lot of this. So we're coming out with a mini grant program. They've set aside $4 million to do kind of what we like to call jumpstart grants. So thinking where we can use, where we can give out money. There's no match funds for this. So this is free money to cities to figure out how we get some of these lines on a map to actually be conceptual design projects and get those into our funding pipeline so we can help you deliver those in a faster fashion. So if we go to the next slide, that can fund anything from a multimodal corridor study. Hopefully a lot of these align with the Vision Zero plan, the local road safety plan you were just all looking at. So congratulations on that. If there's any major corridors that align, you can do conceptual design alternatives. We're really hoping you do more community engagement around what those alternatives look like for each of these corridors, knowing that some of these are major investment corridors. So we want to make sure the public's brought along before we come and invest millions of dollars into those corridors. We have available up to $750,000 per project. So we're expecting that these are going to be pretty large planning and conceptual design efforts for many of these projects. And if you are looking at a project or a corridor that spans a city boundary and want to partner with your neighbor, you can get up to $1 million for that corridor. As I mentioned, there's no local match necessary, and we're creating a streamlined application. So I'm sure staff will be excited about that it's going to be more of a letter of interest as opposed to our longer applications for our funding programs that confirm staffing availability and if you need assistance with those as well. One thing with these that we are requiring for many of our projects is that we want to do site walks with the selected applicants, and that we are asking cities to identify a city council member to be the project sponsor, basically, to actually help with that walk. And we're hoping that many of you would also be invited to that site walk as well. So wanted to be out here tonight promoting those. And then I think there's one more slide. Oh, 2 more slides. Okay. So we are just right now going out to talk to all of our local cities along the corridor. The call for projects or nominations for that mini grant program will be out in June. Quick turnaround due by the end of July, and we're hoping to make funding decisions in August to those. So trying to get money out faster for those types of projects. And then the call to action is the last slide. Is really, if your city staff have any questions on the projects, or you all have questions on any of those projects listed, our staff and myself is always available to chat through those. Please apply to the mini grant program. We're looking to get more money out. We know Burlingame staff does a great job at applying to us for funding, so keep up the great work. Participate in the site walk, and then the other thing we're promoting as well, we just kicked off a community-based organization bench. So we actually set aside money to fund community-based organizations to help do engagement on projects on your behalf as well. So if you have anything you want a CBO to participate in, but you don't have the money for it, the Transportation Authority can help with that as well. And with that, the next slide is Sue Ellen's contact information. But if you have any questions, I know Andy knows how to get a hold of us at the Transportation Authority. So happy to answer any questions you have about the program and our available funding.
All right, very good. Appreciate the report here. Sir, I didn't get your last name.
Gilster.
Gilster.
Gilster, thank you. All right, Mr. Gilster, thank you very much. Commissioners, did you have any comments or questions? Start on this side.
Question,
No.
very clear.
Vice Chair Johnson, any?
I just a few, just more for clarification. Just so I understand, with the mini grant program, does that get open up to all zones at the same time then to compete in applying for those grants?
It does. So you mean the Mid-County, South County, and North County? Yes.
Okay.
So
And then within a zone, you have like our zone, we have San Mateo and Belmont and others. If there is something within the plan that crosses jurisdiction, that's what you're saying is the $1 million.
yes, many of
One isn't treated as a jurisdiction.
correct.
Okay, so the details for the first zone, which includes Millbrae, which is an important corridor for Burlingame. It doesn't matter what zone.
No.
And we can.
Now that we've done all 3 of the planning efforts, we're treating the whole corridor and all 60 priority projects as equal.
Fair game.
Yeah, that's fair game. So yes.
All right.
So, yeah, you don't need to be worried about the border for the North County, Mid County, and South County.
Okay. All right. Checking.
It was just to make things manageable when we did the.
I got it. I got it. Okay, very good. And yeah, those were my main questions.
Okay, on this side, Commissioner Israelit?
No questions or comments, other than thank you for such a really clear explanation of everything. It really was well presented. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Brown?
Yeah, just if we can go back and just look at slide 22, that's the one that, well, you'll find it. It's got the 101 and then the orange lines with the connections east and west. Just a real quick question.
Yeah.
So if I'm, oh, no, back one more. Yeah, there you go.
This one.
So if all of these things were to be able to happen, am I to understand that it's 82% more grocery stores will be connected
Correct.
from this?
Yes, if we were able to implement the whole network, which is what we're working toward.
Is there a way to look at this for the central corridor? Maybe to give us an idea what we could affect? Maybe, what's low? fruit, I guess. Maybe what we can affect, because I like this, 82% more grocery stores, 21% more schools through this connection, senior care. So is there any way to look at this just for the central corridor?
We have some of the metrics by individual project along each corridor, but not all of them. So we have vehicle miles traveled and greenhouse gas reduction by project. We would have to do additional analysis to do every individual project for some of those.
Just, again, just
Yeah.
curious as to how we want to approach or could approach the funding piece of it and how it will affect some of these things here. So that was my only question. Thank you. This is really cool, by the way. It's great. Appreciate it.
And many of the projects we listed for Burlingame have funding, or we are actively partnering with the city to fund, like the Old Bayshore Highway, the Broadway Burlingame grade separation is something we are all actively working on together, trying to move forward. And then Peninsula is something we are working on with you all and the city of San Mateo, and will hopefully kick off later this year. So hopefully you look at one of the other things to actually apply for more funding for too, so we can get those going as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I had a couple things. You already talked about Broadway grade separation. Are we working with Peninsula Avenue redevelopment? You talked about, there were a couple other things here that I pointed out or pointed to, as far as connected. We have this brand new beautiful Topgolf at Anza, and there's no pedestrian crossing across 101 at Anza. It's either at Peninsula, and then up Bayshore to get to Topgolf, or Broadway up to Bayshore to get to Topgolf. Is there any consideration for a pedestrian overcrossing there at Anza?
To my knowledge, there was one proposed by Caltrans, I think a long time ago. It was not included in our inventory. I think we removed it because I don't think it's in the city's bike plan. So we didn't add any new projects to that was inventoried as possible.
Okay, so that wasn't high priority, it sounds like. The other thing is inclusivity. Do you have any pull on the toll lanes on 101? Those don't seem very inclusive, especially when it's like $12 to go 3/4 of a mile, things like that. Anything that can be done to make those a little more inclusive?
There is a community benefits program from the toll lanes. So some of the funding that gets accrued from that actually goes to giving transit passes and transponders to different communities to actually help them afford to be able to use the tolls as well.
Okay.
So if you've never seen that program, we can help provide more information on that as well.
And then just curious, Mr. Wong, maybe the Broadway grade separation, how are they helping with us moving that along? Is it more money for studies, or I know we don't have the money to fund the project, but how are we getting support for that?
Through chair, yeah, we're constantly working with the TA and just trying to see what other opportunities there are.
Yeah.
Not necessarily Patrick, but we're working with Jess and Vamsi over there, and they're in on we have a weekly call or bi-weekly call with them. So we're constantly trying anything we can on that one. So.
Okay.
I can actually talk a little bit about this too. So actually my team is doing a funding strategy for the project with the city staff, with Chris Lamb, the Public Works Director, and the Director of Finance from Caltrain. So we're kind of taking some of the grant strategy and taking that away from the technical team and actually helping them lay out, here's everything we can be applying for. The Transportation Authority is helping to pay for some of those grants. So we're all looking at what can we do in the next 5 years to help get that funded. So actually, you'll probably hear more from my team as we just kicking off that part. And then our recent grade separation policy update for the Transportation Authority has said for the next 5 years, Burlingame can claim the remainder of our grade separation funding as long as you're working towards trying to get that project funded. So we're laying out with that 5-year strategy of what does that look like to actually help hopefully keep working to getting it all funded.
Yeah.
So trying to work with all 3 agencies, provide as much support as possible.
Okay. Very good. Anything else, commissioners? The public, a few people from the public, did you want to? No? Okay. Mr. Gilster, thank you very much for the report. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Excellent.
All right. And returning to our agenda, moving backwards to 6A. So we're at Broadway long-term parking requests. Mr. Wong.
Thank you. Through the chair, I know there's some folks online that are listening. I just want to point out again with tonight's hybrid meeting that the only way to provide public comment was either have previously sent it or be here in person. I know one of the attendees has already submitted a nice email that you all were provided. So just letting folks know, if you're online and hoping to speak, you will not be able to speak. So with that, we'll get started with the proposed Broadway parking change. Thank you. Just getting into the goal tonight is to provide the commission with some data regarding a survey we just recently completed in the Broadway downtown, and then describe a proposal we have of trying to convert some of the short-term parking we have into long-term parking, basically going from merchant or customer parking to help, and then long-term parking mostly for the employees to park in specific parking lots. We're not looking at any of the on-street spaces or the side streets. They're just at the 5 lots that are there. Also, something while we were going through this exercise, some of the commission had looked at previously was along southbound California. There's a little gridlock that occurs right there around where Ryan Ed is. We have a bike lane. So we had previously talked about this object, and there wasn't support for converting some of those parking spaces at the time. We also didn't provide, we didn't have the data we have now of what the usage is. So we're coming back with that, get some feedback from the committee, and then hopefully get a motion of support for the proposed options. So getting into tonight's discussion, last year, staff was approached by one of the business owners along Broadway downtown with a request to increase some of the long-term parking downtown. You'll see how many long-term spaces we have and in total in the lots. And then last month, we completed a survey of all 5 parking lots during the basically enforcement hours, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So someone went out on the hour and looked at the capacity of each lot and checked the vehicles. And even took some photos to show if we were really interested to see if there was turnover in some of those long-term lots. Was that car there all day, or was it just there once and someone else pulled in that parking space? So when we talk about capacity, and for some of you who have been on the commission, you might understand, you've heard this before, but we don't look at capacity as 100%, because then it's done. Someone drives through and they can't. What we look at is 85%. So if you go through the first time, you may not find one, but if you circle around, there's a chance you'll find it. So that's still what we're considering capacity. So that's when you see 85%, that's what we'll be describing. And again, there's a potential opportunity to address the queuing issues along southbound California, specifically the block between Rayonette and Juanita. So here is our Broadway downtown parking map, and then our 5 lots. And just starting on the top, we have lot Q, which is split with 24 spaces in total. Half are 2-hour, half are 10-hour. Lot P, and this is the lot that's located behind Farmers Market across the street from lot Q. We have 17 2-hour spaces, 10 2-hours, 10 10-hour spaces. Lot S, what most of you may know is the lot behind Goodwill, and there's also a mix there. And then lot R is located by the post office off Cappuccino and between the post office and Chase Bank over there. We'll see there's actually 2 lots there. Chase has their own lot and the city has a lot there. And lastly, lot Y, which is located near Pick of the Litter, which has not only 2-hour and a few 10-hour spaces, but it's also the one where most of the EV chargers are there. And for the purpose of this study, the EV chargers were just considered 2-hour parking. They weren't considered long-term. So let's, and again, in total, in all the surface lots that we have in Broadway, we have about 119 2-hour spaces and 42 10-hour spaces to give you the breakdown for the total of 160 spaces of parking lots that we have in along Broadway. Just get into it. We'll go on the starting lot P. As you can see, in orange, you have the short-term parking. In green here on the graph, you have the long-term parking. The capacities are on the vertical axis, and then the time of day on the bottom. As you can see, throughout most of the day, the long-term parking it hits and exceeds 85% through most of the day at lot P. These are the core lots. These are the ones located in the middle of the Broadway downtown. So we would expect much more usage here, as you can see. Same with lot Q. Lot Q actually even exceeds it. We go over 90% most of the day for the long-term parking. And then throughout the day, the short-term parking is pretty full in this lot as well. And we'll talk about it a little later, but as you can see, even at 6 o'clock, we're at close to capacity, or it's still pretty high. And there's a reason for that on these lots. Lot R, as you can see, pretty low usage. Is why we identified this lot as one that we may convert spaces. As you can see, it doesn't hit 85% until later in the day at 6 p.m. And for these lots, a big reason for that being in the core, after 6 o'clock, parking enforcement ends. So there's a lot of, it's basically you can park in these areas, even in the Burlingame downtown, you could pull in for free. The park enforcement officers aren't out there during these times. And what we have in the Broadway, we have a lot of multi-family homes that on site, they don't have enough parking. And so what happens is a lot of these lots, surface lots, are utilized as overnight parking. So folks will pull up there. And as long as they're not signed, no overnight parking, we only have one facility that there is no overnight parking, and that's the Highland Garage. But the other lots you can park there. But the understanding is come 8 o'clock, if your car is still there and the parking enforcement officers come, if you haven't fed the meter or paid the meter, you will be cited. So lot S, again, behind Goodwill. More short-term parking is utilized in here. However, I think a lot of folks in our observations, a lot of the, because of how close it is to Goodwill, it's used by mostly, and it's on the outskirts of the downtown core, both lots and R, or lots R and S are on the outskirts. So this particular, I think the long-term is used mostly by employees at Goodwill.
By who?
Employees, sorry. And lot Y, again, high usage for the 2 hour, and it starts to get pretty full with the long term, or I'm sorry, vice versa. Long term is pretty full, and the short term it fluctuates, and that can be mainly because the EV chargers in this were considered as 2 hours, so they might not have been in an EV vehicle parked in those spaces at the time. So again, feedback. We talked about the multifamily. You start to see the 5, 6 o'clock folks start parking in there with the thought of leaving their vehicle overnight until the next day. Most of the parking in the Broadway downtown, the long-term parking, reaches that capacity of 85%, definitely by 10 a.m., but even sometimes occurrences at 9 a.m. Again, we talked about lot R having lower usage potentially because the high turnover of the post office. Folks aren't staying there very long, as well as the nearby bank has its own parking. So folks aren't going to park in a city lot if they have to do business, or it's a quick turnaround. They're just using the ATM. So they might use it, but there's a lot of capacity in that lot. And lastly, like I mentioned, lots R and S are on the ends of the Broadway corridor. And so they're not utilized as much as lots P, Q, and Y. So staff's proposal. Our proposal is to convert a portion of the 2 hour parking spaces in lot R to 10-hour spaces. Again, lot R is a little underutilized, definitely relative to the other spaces. And with that, we have the potential ability to address converting the on-street spaces along California Drive there. We would be able to maybe utilize lot S, and then I'll show you an example, but we would be pulling from here to pull from here. Let's get into it right now. So for example, Lot S here and the parking that we were previously talking about. There are probably like 5 or 6 on-street spaces that we can relocate into Lot S. So you can see here, I've just for an example, I put a couple 20-minute spaces, added 4 more 2-hour spaces. So we took away 6 10-hour spaces there. And then in Lot R, we took of the 34 2-hour spaces, we converted 9 of them. So we've gained, in this case, 9 or 3 long-term spaces in total.
Can you do that one more time, please?
Sure. So for Lot S right now, if you go back, we only have 2-hour and 10-hour spaces. As an example, if we wanted to, we got feedback saying they would, we wanted to have 20-minute space in Lot S. We can take 6 spaces out of Lot S, convert 2 of them, say, to 20-minute, convert another 4 to 2-hour out of the 6, and take away, there are currently 10 10-hour spaces there. We could take 6 of them and convert it, leaving 4. And in order to pick up the 6 spaces that we lost of the long term, we would move those to Lot R. So you would take the parking there and shift it to the other end. And so in this case, we had no long-term parking in Lot R, and we're adding 9 there. So, and for this example, that's a net gain of 3 long-term spaces. It's just an example. But one thing I wanted to point out, it has to be probably done in certain increments. It can't be. So if you look at, here's the layout of Lot R, up against the post office, we have 9 spaces. In the middle, there's angled parking on both sides, and that constitutes 16 spaces, and the other end 9 spaces. So you can see you could do 9, 8, 9, and these would be 25. So you'd have to do some combination just to make it easier for the residents when they're parking in that area and not trying to check, is this a 2-hour space or a 10-hour space?
Mhm.
Okay. So again, what we're talking about for Lot S and the parking, you can see this is California Drive going left to right. Juanita and Ryanette are these streets here. And these are the 6 spaces that if we were able to relocate, we can push the bike lane up against the curb and then open this up where it tends to, the bottleneck is located right here at Ryanette, where folks are trying to get into this lane, but they can't because it's queued up, and they can get into the left turn lanes, and then you've experienced the backup. So the idea would be relocate these spaces to Lot S, pull the bike lane over, and then we would open this up a little bit more. So southbound through vehicles would be able to go closer to the curb and be on this side, and the space in between where they can fit, they would be able to go into the left turn lanes. So again, there's just an example of what we could do and what we were, and just a closer look. These facilities, as we noted before, I believe this one is auto repair that I'm circling, the one further north. And then here is a laundromat. They do have on-site parking currently. And I believe this facility here actually has some access in back. This is a pass-through, and they have not necessarily parking, but they have a facility in back. But previously, I believe it was probably like a garage back there. So with that, we've made the presentation. We're hoping to obtain community feedback on the proposed option of not only converting spaces in Lot R, but also about relocating on-street spaces into Lot S. And with that, we'll take any questions, and thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wong. Appreciate that. So we do have a couple people in the audience that may want to speak on this. So we're going to ask questions first, the commissioners, and then I'll open it up to public comment. If there's anybody in the audience that wants to make public comment on this, you're welcome to. And we did receive 3 emails for public comment, which we've all read. I won't mention the names because they've been redacted, but there are some comments and concerns about what we do there. So I'll just note that for the record. And commissioners, questions on the project. So why don't we start Commissioner French?
And Andy, would you mind going back to that last slide? Because I'm confused. Come down California and
Sure.
Caltrain parking, and then you cross Broadway and you have like the two gas stations. Are these all these cars that are parked at the top of that? Is that the Caltrain parking or is that the other side? I didn't realize it was parking on the other side of,
Sorry.
like, north of Broadway.
Through chair.
Go ahead.
So currently this is Rector parks their vehicles there. Previously, and
Sorry, who parked?
Rector Audi, they store vehicles there. The Audi dealership that's located on Carolyn and Broadway.
So is this north of?
This is north of Broadway, sorry. Broadway is at the very
Yeah.
right edge, and this is on the other side north.
I never ever saw those.
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes they're not there.
Oh, okay.
And previously, that was a city lot until a few years ago where the city didn't own it. It was managed by Caltrain, and they came into an agreement with Audi to lease those spaces to store vehicles. So
So
the
now
city lost access,
Audi
storage
lease.
facility,
And is that 24/7?
24/7, yes.
Okay, all right. So then what, that led to my question, which was when you consider and you showed the map with all of the lots, why are we not looking at the lot on the Caltrain station? Is it, do people park there now? There used to be like the food truck
So the
thing,
one there.
Red and State. Is that open to the public or what's that for?
Through chair, that is open to the public. And I do know that when we had discussions regarding the other side of California, a lot of the businesses along that stretch, they may put vehicles in there, but they do have to pay the Caltrain fee to park there. So, and some of them do because some of the auto body places have indicated that they pay there to put a vehicle there because they're moving vehicles. And so that's how they get extra space.
And is that Caltrain parking, are those Caltrain fees more expensive than the city fees?
I believe they are. I think we have $3 for all day, and I think they're either $4.50 or $5 all day.
Because that's why I was curious that when it's such a short walk, why really the Caltrain parking wasn't included. Okay, my question. Thank you.
Okay.
So just to follow
Good.
up on that, so that area is Caltrain's jurisdiction, even though we relinquished spots. They were ours, but we gave them up.
I wouldn't say gave them up, but they somehow
Took them.
and it's managed by Caltrain. I actually think the property there is actually it's a whole list, but it's owned by the California Public Utilities Commission. But that's something different. It's managed by Caltrain.
Okay, fair enough. Just a question, just to make sure I understood the numbers correctly. Really then, if you're taking some 10-hour parking spots away from one lot, but we're adding to another lot. So in total, we're gaining 9 new spots?
Through
9 new 10-hour spots.
3 new, because previously in Lot S, there were, we took 6 of the long-term there and converted them to short-term.
Okay. So we're just, with this plan, we'll add 3 new 10-hour spots.
Yeah, the kind of the essence of the plan is trying to be more efficient with the lots that we have. And then Lot R seems to be underutilized. And so we're trying to maximize that. We've done this before different ways. Lot H across El Camino was underutilized. And the only way to do that was there was a fee drop, and that filled that lot up. So we're not doing that here, but we're able to shift. And as I indicated in the staff report, I didn't make mention of it here. Part of this, if we, with this proposal, if we get support and we implement it, we would contact and work with the Broadway bid to inform them where the long-term parking is, just to make sure people get there, right? It's fine if we put it in, but they don't know about it. It stays as is, so.
How many people in this district work? How many employees are we talking about are working in the Broadway district?
Yeah, I do not have that information.
Okay. And when you did the outreach and speaking with the vendors there, did they say how many more spots they felt?
Oh. Well, I know in the feedback that we've gotten back, it's a big, it could be a big number, right?
Maybe.
So it's,
Lots to support. Yeah.
yeah, it's a balance.
Okay. Um,
And sorry,
and
through-
do we know out of
Yep.
the 10-hour spots, and we probably have no way of knowing this, how many might be used by residents during the day who are just paying for that spot?
we could look into the, well, no, it's hard to identify because staff we have still photos, so we can compare photos hour by hour and see which ones, but that doesn't tell us if it's a employee parking there, unless it's maybe parked throughout the day and you make the assumption that after 6, when the last photo is taken, that person's staying there and an employee would have gone home. You have to make that assumption. But no, there's no way of figuring that otherwise.
Spots that are on California that we're looking to move. We don't know if those are being used by residents or by people who are visiting those businesses.
I would, just based on feedback we've gotten, I would see definitely used by the folks within those businesses along that stretch.
Through the chair, I forgot to ask one question. Do you want me to wait to the end?
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
That's all I have.
Done?
right now. I'm good.
Okay, go to this side. Commissioner Israelit?
I'll go next.
Mr. Wong, I don't think this will affect like our decision this evening on supporting or not supporting this plan, but I do want to say that I don't feel totally comfortable with the validity of calling the EV spots in Lot Y 2-hour parking because you can't park there if you're not charging.
Correct.
And so they're not really available to your average shopper who, so I think it might be best in the future if we're like to have a very valid equation, just to have those removed from the parking so we don't overestimate how many spots are available. I understand everything you're saying, and I think it's really makes a lot of sense. Is there a reason, I mean, other than an extra $1.50 or $1 a day, I mean, is there a reason we can't encourage the employees to park at the Caltrain lot, just like we have on Burlingame Avenue, we have Lot A, which is like, just across, you might not, I didn't know it was there, just across El Camino where the employees can, park. And that way it freed up spots for shoppers and businesses to have, people have easy access. Is there a reason that we aren't sort of encouraging this sort of satellite parking for long-term employees?
No, I mean, as part of when we let them know if we make a change and we do continue outreach, we can, I mean, it's been there. It's, the folks know it's there. There are a few spots that are dedicated, but they're signed for Maverick Jacks there, but the other spaces are for Caltrain. And as you know, because we don't have a train that stops there during the week,
Right.
no one's hopping on a train there. So those spaces are usually open. So yeah, we can definitely,
I
I
think
won't say encourage, we can make them more aware that there's space there, especially if you're in a rush.
to message that because the emails that we got talked about lack of employee, 10-hour parking from merchants, but I know that lot is empty a lot of the time. So I'm not so sure that we don't have enough employee parking. It may just be that that's less convenient or they're not aware or whatever. So I just want to bring that up as an issue because I'm not hearing that being discussed.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Anything else, Commissioner Israelit? Commissioner Brown?
Yeah, just a couple questions. We did mention the EV spaces in Lot Y. Are there EV parking spaces in the other lots at all?
At this time, there are not. No.
And do we have to have EV spaces in every lot that's open to the public?
That's a tricky question only because things are changing, but we're not mandated to have EV spaces. Unlike ADA spaces, we do need to have, if we have a surface lot, there's a ratio. You have to have at least one for so many parking. But at this time, the EV is more of a trying to continue to be progressive and keep with the trends of, so.
And my other question is you just brought up handicap spaces. Are they, because they're free, right?
Yes,
And they would
you know,
considered, are they part of the long term in this scenario?
we did not consider those just because
They're not considered.
they're not part of this.
Part of this at all. Okay. And then the other thing that I had a question about, we're adding 2 20-minute
No.
spaces. Is that necessary?
No, through share. That was just an example. I've tried to
Oh,
point out was
okay.
just to show you things that the ability that we can do to try to accommodate the needs of the businesses on that frontage. If it was, a dry cleaner, right? You're not going to need 2-hour parking if you're a dry cleaner. The 20-minute would be more appropriate. So we're trying to, again, as an example, what I was hoping for is a starting point. And again, this is flexible. If we start somewhere, it's implemented that way, but it doesn't mean that's the end all. We get feedback throughout this, and we may easier to change than other things that we've come across.
Okay. All right. Those were the questions that I had. Thank you.
Commissioner French, you wanted to ask another question?
Yeah, it was just based on one of the comments that came in from the public. Someone had mentioned that there are folks using the sidewalk, so obviously in parking in front of their homes as a free park and fly for, I guess more than 3 days, and they were told by Burlingame Police that unless they have proof, there's nothing they can do. Just curious why the traffic warden doesn't police that the way they police all the other lots with their chalk. Is that true? I mean, is that verified, this comment? I just was curious about it.
So generally with, California mandates that if vehicles left parked on a public space for more than 72 hours, it could be considered abandoned and then towed. Generally speaking, our practice is we don't go around looking at every parked car in the city. When somebody generates a call saying, hey, this car's been here for a while, we'll then have our parking enforcement go out there and mark the car as abandoned. They'll chalk the tires, drop a tag on the windshield notifying the person that their car has been marked abandoned. And then after that 72-hour period, we usually give them an additional grace period before we tow the car, and then we go out there and tow the car. But like I said, we don't go out there proactively looking for abandoned vehicles. We wait for a call to be generated, our parking enforcement team.
Got it. Thank you. So I was just curious then why traffic versus PD would not police that if that's causing an issue. So I guess that was my comment from this one that was sent in.
Okay. Mr. Wong, I had a couple questions. So what day of the week was the data collected?
I have to go back. It was probably Tuesday or Wednesday, middle of the week.
Okay. I know when you and I walked downtown Burlingame Avenue, Friday were terrible.
Those are terrible.
Yeah. So do we know whether it's the same situation on Broadway, whether traffic or parking is worse on Thursday and Friday? Not sure.
Yeah, I
You
couldn't
have to walk
right
it.
now.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one data point, right? I mean, it's just
Correct.
one day. Okay. All right. And then the other question I had was, do we charge different rates for 10-hour versus 2-hour parking?
Yeah, so I believe the 2-hour parking is $1 an hour, and the 10-hour parking is $3 for all day.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. Let's see. So any other questions before I open it up to the public? Anybody in the public want to speak? All right. Mr. Wetton?
Nice to see you again. I just wanted to remind the commission, I think we did look at some data for Broadway many years ago. My recollection off the top of my head, which you may be wrong, is that we saw really, and you see it in this data here too, severe constraints at dinner time in Broadway, which differentiates from the downtown where the constraints are more around lunchtime. And that does concern me about Lot R, because you can see there is no capacity at dinner time. So I would just urge the commissioners to give a little thought to what it would mean to create 9 10-hour spaces in that lot. And during the day, it's probably okay based on the data, but when dinner time comes and people are going to eat at Broadway Grill, Broadway Prime, down to Young Can Walk, El Centro, apologies to restaurants on El Figaro, apologies to the other restaurants I'm forgetting to name check. There's a lot of diners that are coming in at 6 p.m. And that side of Broadway is where a lot of the bigger restaurants are. So that's one reason why at 6 p.m. that lot is full, no capacity. And that includes the Chase lot too. I'm sure we all live here. We all know that. So I would give some thought to that. That said, I really think, I really commend Mr. Wong about thinking about addressing what's going on in California. I think that's a long time coming, and his idea, I think, is a novel one, and I think I'm enthusiastic about it. And I know you'd want to get long-term spots back somewhere else, but I do worry about what happens at dinner time at Lot R. And I'll leave you with another way to address it might be actually specific permits that people can buy. I think we've done that in the past in downtown. So if you just you have a permit program, you make a certain number of permits available. It's a monthly fee, and you could structure it so people have to be out of there by 5 p.m. because that's when you really don't want them there. You don't want a shift employee to come in, or a lot of shift employees to come in at noon or 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. for the dinner shift. And then suddenly a problem that's already bad on Broadway has gotten a lot worse. And the other time we see it, if I'm remembering our data, is Saturday at lunchtime. There's really nowhere to park. So again, you'd see the same problem, people working the restaurants, and people can't stop and actually use the restaurants. So, okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wetton. Mr. Wong, did you want to say something?
I was just going to make one comment, especially related to dinner time, that again, the enforcement ends after 6. So a 10-hour and 2-hour spot, I mean, for lack of a better term, it's a free for all at that point. You could park in a 10-hour all day. So
Yeah.
Law has left the building.
Yeah.
Did it? Anybody else? Public comment? Sure. Step up. Yep. Just tell us your name.
Hi, Jen Faber.
Hi.
I want to echo what Mr. Wetton said, but also just emphasize that space on California is actually quite unusable as a cyclist. And so I really can see, but then it's such a sad dynamic because you also have people, if they have a lot of laundry going to the laundromat, it's hard to carry from the lot that is by the Goodwill. So it's just something to think about as a user of that laundromat. And then I mean, really just like, I don't know, and I know you can't answer questions, but what month was the data point taken? Because I would say the user experience right now is Broadway is actually quite busy and all of the lots are quite busy. So I'd just be curious about more data points. Thank you.
Mr. Wong, it said March in your
Yeah,
report.
last month.
Yeah, it was March. A Wednesday in March. That's what we know.
Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I could double check. I have to.
Oh, now it could be Thursday. All right.
We don't do it on Mondays or Fridays typically. But,
All right. Very good. Okay. So Mr. Tsai, no? All right. I'll close public comment. All right, commissioners, we need to discuss, and we have a suggestion in front of us. And so of what engineering would like to happen there. So who wants to start the discussion? Any discussion? Sure, Commissioner Israelet.
Well, the California lane addition, like taking away 5 parking spots to allow for moving the bike lane against the curb and adding an extra lane for cars to line up so that maybe 10 more cars get through every light switch, was something that we brought up before you guys were here. Chair Martos was. And it also, I think, makes it safer for the bikers, because what we see, and pictures have been sent to us, is that cars cross over the bike lane, access the lane to go straight. So it's just hasn't been working well as it is. So I've always wanted that to happen. And I think it's a good idea in everyone's best interest. So then having 5 more spaces that were short term in lot S, you know, to counterbalance that makes sense. I think that just swapping the place of long-term parking to lot R, I mean, I think that that's fine. I'm a little leery about adding 3 long-term parking spots simply because I do feel like the short-term parking can be hard to find at lunch, and Broadway's becoming more and more vibrant with new stores and restaurants. So I kind of hesitate, even though it's only 3 spots, I kind of hesitate adding long-term parking when that exists as we have it at Caltrain, which is usually pretty freaking empty all day. So I don't want to make a mistake and add more long-term parking in the heart of the merchant business district when we want to make sure we have parking available for customers. Again, it's 3 spots. And if this is what works best and everyone else is like, I think this is a good plan, it's not like this is something I'm gonna fight. It's just something that struck me. Otherwise, I think that it's a great suggestion. I don't think we're causing any new problems. I think we're solving some. So I'm all for it.
Okay. Commissioner, yep, Vice Chair Johnson, go ahead.
I think we should just recognize that this doesn't solve the problem for the people who need a long-term parking spot. I mean, it's nice to get 3 extra spots. But I do think a longer, I'm not against the proposal at all. I think there's really good things about this, especially about the California proposal. I think that's super wise. It's super congested. It's very it's fraught with all sorts of issues. I think opening that up makes a whole lot of sense. We have nowhere else to go, so we have to do these trade-offs. But I would say if I were an hourly employee who was told to go pay an hour, $1 extra an hour for parking, that probably would mean a lot to me. So
I think it's $1 a day. Sorry.
I'm talking about the Caltrain parking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Extra $1 a day.
Oh, a day. Okay,
Day.
that was an hour. Apologies. Okay. So, but I think, where we can try to partner with Caltrain to find some extra spots or I don't know what that would look like. But in general, I would say that the proposal looks good to me. I mean, this is my downtown. This is where we go. We walk, we eat in all those restaurants, and very rarely try to park because we usually walk down there, but I know parking is really hard. So I think I for sure, just recognizing that we have a broader systemic parking issue on Broadway that we need a long proposal for.
Okay, Commissioner Brown?
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. There's I don't think this really changes much in the big picture of things. Certainly adding long-term parking makes sense. Maybe taking the 3 spaces or from short-term to long-term. I don't know if anyone's actually going to see a big difference. Again, what everyone's saying about California, I wasn't here when the initial proposal was made, but it sounds like a great idea. But I agree with Commissioner Johnson that there's got to be a bigger picture or scope of this. So I would not stop this at all as a first step, but I think there's got to be some other things that need to be considered. And I don't know all the parking structures around there either that well, but I think it makes sense to me. But it doesn't, and I don't think it's going to affect people one way or the other, short-term or long-term, because you're really just adding 3 long spaces. So I'm not opposed to this at all.
Okay. Commissioner French? any
Yeah,
comments?
I mean, look, we're only talking about a couple of spaces. I suppose all large cities, which I don't consider Burlingame one, there's can't drive in London, right? Traffic is just getting worse everywhere. I suppose, is there a way to incent the local employees to use that Caltrains by saying, hey, if they had their own color of sticker of a permit, that by walking that extra 2 or 3 minutes, that they got a break? you know, I think the challenge is parking's becoming more expensive overall. Cost of gas is going up. You know, we want to encourage employees to want to come into the Broadway area. But you know, a few extra minutes, maybe if it was a financial incentive from the city, that might work as a solution. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay. Let's see. So with regards to, so I am fully in favor of relocating the spaces on California to one of the lots. Yeah, that's a very dangerous section of
Mhm.
roadway. It's a question about whether the composition of long-term, short-term in lots P and Q is equitable. And let's see. P and Q. Yep. So it's one email that we received talked about that. We have,
So P
how
up
many in
behind the
P?
farmer's market.
Yeah, here it's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Q is behind, well, a bunch of,
So, and there are in P 17 2 hours and 10 hours. And Q, there are,
12 and 12.
yeah, it's hard to read, 12 and 12. So those are balanced. Let's see. And the data on Q looks like, yep, all those long-term are filled, and in P, they're almost all filled. I'm sorry,
P and Q, both long-term and short-term, are pretty well utilized. It began,
pretty well.
because those are in the heart of the Broadway corridor.
yeah.
Yeah. So are you comfortable with the balance of 2 hour and 10 hour queue, Mr. Wong?
We didn't, I mean, those are typically filled up, and again, depending on how you want to look at it,
Yep.
the customers have access in the core, and there are spaces in there. But typically we have the employee parking in the Burlingame downtown. It's more on the outskirts.
Yeah.
And then the core, although we do have spaces in the core for it, but the majority of the parking is outside the core of the downtowns.
Chair Mark.
And so where I was going with that, whether it would make sense to make more spaces in P and Q 2 hours by a couple, and encourage those people to park in the outer lots, or as Commissioner Israel had said, the Caltrain lot, which is wide open. That's where I was trying, that's where I'm debating with myself whether that would make sense, and allow more people to come and, downtown if they want to have lunch, or, I mean, dinner's not an issue because it's all wide open, but during the day, instead of those spaces being occupied, by, I'm assuming that it's employees, because they're pretty full most of the time. Let's see, I mean, we only have three emails here. And one of them thought that, in P, fair and balanced access. So P is unbalanced, right? Yep, P is unbalanced. So I wouldn't add more 10-hour spaces to P. I'm actually advocating less 10-hour spaces in P and Q by maybe a couple. That's the only thing I'm thinking as a potential way to improve it. So,
Through Chair,
Yeah.
the request I came up with is not about short term, it was about long term.
right.
And the other, and this has changed. We've now, you no longer will have, we don't have each space has its own pole. We've gone to a different system now. It's almost in each lot, there's maybe, I think, 1 meter for 2 spaces or something like that. So again, like I showed you on lot R, where we have, you're not going to do like, let's do 17 or something like that, where it's so weird. You may have that in lots P and Q as well. I don't know how they're laid out now. I didn't look into it, but just because of how those meters are, if you do one, you just can't do one. You may have to do 2, and if you, and we sign it, it has to be a certain, otherwise you're going to say this one, this one, this one. How do you identify which is a long-term space and which is a short-term space?
Yeah.
So I don't know how it's laid out now because obviously it's changed, but I'd like to look into that a little bit more if we were to move forward with something like that, just because
Yeah.
we hadn't looked at it.
Okay. Okay. Commissioner Israelit, you wanted to say something? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, maybe we can table the redistribution of spots in P and Q for now, if that's not been in the scope of the study. And what I was going to say is just Lot P services a grocery store, a laundromat, and Starbucks. And so that may be why there's more 2-hour spots in it, whereas Lot Q, not so much quick. I mean, there's some hair salons. Right?
Well, you've got the Pilates, you've got, yeah,
For P, Lot P.
yeah.
So anyway,
No, Q,
either
Q,
Q.
Q. You've got a lot of people darting in and out of Flex and
Okay.
a lot of restaurants and nail places on that.
Okay. So Mr. Wong, I'm in favor of your proposal as well. So I'm just a suggestion that maybe down the road, as
Yeah.
Commissioner Israelit mentioned, we may want to revisit P and Q and see how we potentially redistribute. Depends on what the business owners think is best down there. But just my opinion on the 2-hour.
Okay.
Yep.
Chair?
Okay. Yep. Go ahead, Commissioner Brown.
As we're talking about the next phase of this, to improve parking spaces, it would be great to have that information about the Caltrain parking as we
Yeah.
can consider what else can be done. And my curiosity is, if we're parking over there, where are they crossing the street? Because that, I don't, from that parking space, am I walking to Broadway to cross the street? Am I walking? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, through chair. I was thinking about that myself. You can cross up Broadway, obviously, there's the crosswalk there, but with the enhancements, I mean, there's always been, but there's also a signal at Carmelita
Mhm.
to cross.
Hmm.
So,
If you dare.
yeah, you have two options.
Okay.
No.
Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, then I need a motion. Would somebody want to make a motion?
I move.
Okay, he moves, you
I
go.
move that we approve the city's plan as stated, to approve moving long-term parking and adjusting parking, removing parking from California Avenue, and adding lanes, modifying the lanes of traffic at that.
Okay. All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have the motion to approve city's plan, redistribute parking, remove the parking from California. Motion made by Commissioner Israelit, seconded by Vice Chair Johnson. And so, Ms. Brewer, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Brown,
I approve.
Commissioner French,
I approve.
Commissioner Israelit,
Approve.
Vice Chair Johnson,
Approve.
and Chair Martos.
Aye. Okay, motion carries 5-0, Mr. Wong. Have
Thank
it.
you.
All right, very good. And we will move on to, and thank you for the comments. Public. We'll move on to item 7A, informational items. Any informational items come through?
No
Nope,
public comment.
nothing. All right, no community group updates, thing? Nope, okay. Engineering division reports, Mr. Wong.
Thank you, Chair Martos. Just a couple quick ones. And El Camino Real is in full swing. We have a couple, they've been going on, but full closures from Broadway to, Broadway. Full closures, Howard to Peninsula along El Camino. What we mean by full closures, obviously, that's where detours are involved. The whole roadway is closed off because that's probably a tree removal operation. And then same period, but from Millbrae to Grove, we have lane closures for potholing operations. I think they're just repairing, patching up some of the potholes they had taken previous. Again, those are only operation from 9 to 5 during the week. Old Bayshore Streetscape Project, we're in the process of selecting a design consultant. And then we'll be bringing, once we get them on board, we'll be bringing that to you folks. Again, the infamous Candyland chart. We'll be starting the process, getting you outreach, putting some other concepts.
Seen one?
And so you'll see that soon. So that'll be exciting because that project is, we got a significant grant. So we have the ability to start construction after design right from the get-go. Murchison Truesdale Davis, the project of adding bike facilities. We are got the construction bids, so we're looking at starting construction on that in mid-May. And lastly, the item we talked about last month, entry walls, landscape island. For the comments, the feedback, including option 2A to my colleague or counterparts in San Mateo and their design team. There are some tweaks they can do, but it may not be what everyone wants, but they'll be able to make it look a little nicer than we had proposed in option ourselves. So with that, that's the engineer report.
Okay, any questions, commissioners?
No.
When are they going to start with the signaling at Dwight and Peninsula?
So they're continuing the design on that.
Yeah.
Right now. And unfortunately, what's going to be a huge lead item are the new poles with the mast arm. And my eyes pop, it's like 9 to 12 months out for getting those. So they're probably going to try to procure those as soon as they can once they finalize that part of the design. But yeah, that's
okay.
That's industry. That's just not
okay
where we are. So
that's unfortunate. All right. Any other questions or comments?
Just the Murchison Truesdale Davis is the bike lane system that we looked at, right?
that is correct.
Okay,
Sure.
that's exciting.
Yep. Okay. Anything else? Let's move on to item 7D. Police Department reports, Corporal Thompson.
So for the month of March, there were a total of 15 crashes to report. Hit and run crashes or crashes caused by DUI were filtered out and do not appear in this report. So of those 15 crashes, we had 8 crashes involving a vehicle with another motor vehicle, 2 crashes involving a bicycle / what we designate as e-moto, 3 crashes with a fixed object, and then out of all the crashes, 12 resulted in minor injuries and 2 resulted in major injuries. Looking at the collision factors, the most common crash factors were right-of-way violations, which we have 4 of, unsafe speed, which we have 3, unsafe backing and or lane change, which we have 7, and 1 red light violation.
Okay. Thank you. Questions, commissioners?
Yeah, were the bicycle accidents involving, I mean, you may not be able to say this, minors or
I believe,
they were both e-bikes?
yeah, one was an e-bike and then one was what we call an e-moto, which is not supposed to be used on a public roadway.
And then on Barley and
Hang on a second. Can I answer the Commissioner, Vice Chair Johnson's question? 1 second. I think the question was, were they minors? Was that your question?
Yes,
Both,
that's my question.
The e-bike and the e-moto collision, they were both minors involved.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner French, go ahead.
Sorry, the Barley and Crescent one, are you just saying someone crashed into the speed limit pole?
I believe that might have been mine. And yes. Let me. Yeah, it appears that they just collided with one of our poles that had the speed limit sign on it, yes. Solo vehicle.
Question? Good.
None for me?
No, no, no. I'm curious about the 2 e-bike, e-moto. Can you explain a little bit? What did they Well, what's this one say? It says it hit a light pole. What's the
California.
Highland and Bayswater? What?
I believe there was so I believe that was a secondary collision from I believe it collided with a vehicle first and then into the light pole, but I can clarify.
Hmm. I mean, did it broadside a vehicle? And as you look it up, I'm curious.
Yes, it appears that it was a right-of-way violation on the vehicle's part, and then they collided with the e-bike, or sorry, the e-moto in this case, which caused the e-moto to then collide with a fixed street pole.
At 9:21:20 is 9:20 in the evening.
Uh,
It was dark.
Where they mentioned an associated factor of the e-moto had no lights on it.
Yeah, okay. Huh. Is there any, are they supposed to have lights on those things if they ride them at night? And bicycles have to have lights?
They're not supposed to be on a public road, so.
Oh, that was an e-moto.
Yeah.
Okay,
E-moto.
okay. And then the other one that was on Bayswater and Highland, that was, you want the number?
I believe it was a simple
691.
violation on the vehicle.
Okay.
Vehicle was at fault for that one.
Is there a light at, or not a light, is there a stop sign, four-way stop at Highland and Bayswater?
That's a good question.
Is there a four-way stop there? I believe
Island and Bay.
there's no stop at Highland on Bayswater if you're going
I don't-
north and south.
I don't know that off the top of my.
I'm just curious,
Look it up.
because that's a hard intersection if there's not a four-way stop
Mhm.
there. If I recall.
I don't think there is. Yeah,
Doesn't look like it.
yeah, I don't think there is one. No. Right after the stoplight there, so there's not a lot of, I mean, you wouldn't put a stop sign there and have the stoplight
'Cause it's
300 yards before it,
yeah,
or 300 feet before it.
where the,
Yeah.
And do you have a question about?
I just, what was the situation there? You said it was,
It appears that the vehicle was going east and the e-bike on that one was going west. And then there was an uninvolved motorist that caused the car to take a pause for a second, then it continued to make its turn in front of the e-bike.
okay.
So there wasn't a stop sign involved for either of the vehicles.
Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, any other questions? Corporal Thompson, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank-
All right, we will move on. And let's see, where are we? Okay, item 7E, Chair and Commissioner Communication. Commissioners, any communications you want to share? No, I have one. So we have an opportunity to get grant funding. Should I look it up on my phone or do you want to remind me? This is for Chapin.
Chapin Avenue.
We were on the commission when we evaluated Chapin and the upgrades, remember the, yep. And so there is an opportunity to get grant funding and it's kind of a hurry to get the application in. So our engineering department asked that the commission support that with a letter. I have the letter, I read the letter, I approved the letter. I just need to sign the letter, but I want to let the commission know that this doesn't have anything to do with the design. I mean, we evaluated 3 options. Commissioner Israelit and I were on the commission at the time. So this isn't approving any design, it's just to get more money to continue the effort. And so with that, if the commission's okay, I'll go ahead and sign it as our representative and Mr. Wong can submit the application. Good with that?
Great.
Yeah.
Fine with me, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, let's go get money.
Okay.
right?
Do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, And then just a reminder that the citywide opening of Big
Yes.
Town Square
Yes.
is on the 25th of Saturday. It's a Saturday from 11 to 2.
Okay.
Saw a video of it opening.
Well, they did
Ribbon cutting.
a ribbon
Ribbon
cutting, but it's
oh.
going to be a big effect.
So what date
It's the 25th
of April?
of April.
Right. Anything else on Commissioner Communications? Otherwise, we'll go on to 8A. Any public comments? Any comments on our subcommittees, committees? Okay. Hillside Safety and Traffic Calming, Israelit and Johnson.
So happy.
Oh, there's a.
Oh, I even walked across. I always go down to that spot now because I'm so excited about it. And I walk my dog across there just to say.
And I have to say, it's just anecdotal, but I cross Hillside all the time at Columbus, and I do see cars slowing down
Yes.
at that crosswalk because just like Lion Hogue, there's something there. It's really remarkable how something so simple can traffic calm.
Yes, people are very happy.
Thank you.
Yes.
The team. I'd like to also add the other one we did, we got a lot of feedback from the, I'm sorry, which medical group now is at the California building? Is that Stanford or you? I think it's UCSF. It's UCSF.
CSF.
They sent a nice little email saying that's been huge because when they were crossing Highland from the parking garage,
Oh, yeah.
they were, so we got a letter supporting that. So both of those were, we'll let Mr. Ting know that.
And-
I did have-
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I just had a neighbor ask me when the flashing yellow.
Yeah, same.
Ditto.
Yeah, I'll look into that because we're still trying to procure those because our staff can't put those in. So it's a
Ah,
little bigger on that. It's, yeah.
We could do it.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Pretty technical with my marketing
Brain.
spectrum. All right.
Thank you.
And just the flashing beacons are going to go both at Benito, also at the new crosswalk, right? They're going to be at the top of Hillside, at Alvarado, sorry.
Third chair.
Yeah.
Not to get into it, that one's not eligible for it because it's an always stop.
Ah, okay.
So the only one we have identified for the one is the one at Carlos.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the reminder.
Okay. All right. El Camino Real Renewal. Commissioners Brown and Israelit.
I think Commissioner Israelit and I would like to dissolve this subcommittee because there's really, there's really not much that we can do or record or it's happening. So we, if
You don't want to take your laugh?
we can still take our lap,
Wow.
which we do anyway. But
We feel like we can sunset it because I'll be honest, like the other gentleman who spoke at public comment in our previous meeting, I think it's handled really well. It's
Mhm.
extremely efficient and, we were concerned about, the detours and impacts on schools and everything and doesn't really need us.
I'll let our inspector, Leo Ortiz, know that he's at as well as our deputy director, Kevin Okada, they've been at the weekly meetings. And so anything that comes up via any of our portals, we bring that to their attention. So.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if your goals have been met, then we can disband this committee. All right. Okay. So let it be written. All right.
We have one subcommittee. Its task is almost.
That's almost completed too. Yeah. Well, we'll have to find something else to study for Mr. Wong. Let us know what you need the most help with. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of that, next month, future agenda items, Mr. Wong, what do you have in the queue?
Possibly some of the ones that we've talked about before, one of the California drives, the Rollins, Barrel A may be coming. That's a traffic calming effort we're doing with City of San Mateo. The surveys have gone out, so it might be time that if we work with San Mateo, we can present it to the commission. Another one I'm contemplating, and actually maybe should have done with a possibly a subcommittee, addressing some of the issues that we heard tonight about overnight parking and folks, the airport folks leaving their vehicles. I've got an idea of something to do that'll help our parking enforcement officers, because a lot of this happens after hours too. So even if someone's parked out there, it doesn't, but it also give us some data. But maybe if there's a subcommittee, maybe we could start there. I can work. So it's kind of a brainstorming thing. It's an idea, but I'd like someone to shoot some holes in it that's not working in City Hall.
Okay.
So if you guys,
Okay.
you can call it residential parking. So.
All right. Is it burial land Cypress?
No, this is different. This would be this is for the, just any area. We get this all the time. Like we have people parking in our area, leaving their car. What can we do? PD has the trouble of, they only go out there. They're not making rounds throughout the city looking for this. Someone gets a call. They go out there, they mark it. They have to wait 3 days, and that car could have been there for 3 days already before the person made the call. So it's something to assist our parking enforcement officers, but also give us like how real this is. Is it one car? Is it like, people parking tons of cars?
So no, but previous to the parking issue,
Oh,
at burial.
yes, Burial A.
Burial
I think I'm,
Cypress. Is it Cypress?
no, it's Burial A and west of Occidental is the
Barrow.
first part.
Okay. Okay, because I know we had some
We did, and that has been
email
been
and
informed about.
people came here and they talked about, about running stop signs.
Yes, PD is
Okay.
addressing.
That was burial land what?
That was Burial A in Cypress.
Cypress. Okay. But
Sorry.
okay. Because that also had a San Mateo border issue as well. So we didn't have full jurisdiction on what to do there.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Okay. But what you were mentioning is a different
is
area.
traffic calming effort we've been working
on burial A. Okay.
Burial A.
Got it. Okay.
Sorry.
And
Okay.
that's been in the works for a while, or is this a new thing?
It's been in the works. We've been working with them, working with the community. We've had a couple meetings with the community, and now we're at the point of a survey to see how many supported, and then we're going to present that survey here of how many people supported, and then we'll move forward if that's what the results show.
Okay. No lack of projects. Go ahead.
If I can make a recommendation, not a recommendation, a proposal.
Sure.
I think this issue of parking on Broadway could be explored a little bit further,
Mhm.
perhaps, in looking at potential partnerships either with Caltrain or, the various spots where we have potential for some spillover.
Mhm.
But it sounds like that might take a little bit of extra muscle to kind of dig in and have some conversations. So maybe in a response back to the Broadway Business District is that we're going to explore a little bit further and see what other options. I know there've been a lot of efforts by council to look at the development of Broadway. And I know that parking has definitely, come up many times, but seems like that would be worth continuing.
We've had those in the past, Mr. Wong, right? A Broadway Parking Committee that studied that. Okay. So we could yell?
Could we add then onto the agenda for next meeting, discussion about adding subcommittees? Because I think we have to. do
Yes.
That.
Yeah.
We could talk about adding Broadway parking study.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
also a
72-hour parking
airport,
violation.
parking violation study group.
Yep.
Because I think we have to notice it before we can add it, and then we have to vote on it.
Okay. So we'll have something about subcommittees next month.
Okay.
Okay. All right. 72-hour
I think it'd be good.
parking.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good. Anything else? Yep. All right. Very good. Then meeting is adjourned.
This meeting, a lot of stuff.
All right.
To show you what happened in Belfast.